son of the Fijian Prime Minister, Frank Bainimarama, is facing criminal charges in Australia over domestic violence-related allegations. 36-year-old Ratu Nelly Bainimarama has been charged in a New South Wales court with 17 offences related to domestic violence, including 5 charges of assault causing bodily harm, stalking, common assault, and destroying or damaging property. The offences allegedly happened between February and May of 2022 in Sydney. Mr. Bainimarama was arrested last week. He has been granted bail. An interim suppression order granted last Saturday was lifted yesterday. In 1 week, the people of Nauru go to the polls to elect 19 MPs across 8 constituencies. 77 candidates are contesting the seats. 18 of those candidates are lining up in the largest constituency, Ubuntu, which will elect 4 MPs. Meaning, in which the current President Aino Ainimia, as well as the MPs, selects 3 members. The rest choose 2 MPs. The least number of candidates is the 6 contesting the Boy and Anitan constituencies. Former President Baron Wanga, who lost the seat in 2019, is keen to re-enter the fray in the Boy constituency. Papua New Guinea marked its 47th year as a sovereign nation. A flag-raising ceremony took place at Independence Hill in Port Moresby, the site where PNG's independence was formally declared on September 16, 1975. The flag was kept half-mast in respect to the late Queen Elizabeth II. Papua New Guinea's Prime Minister, Rangitaiki, was not present for the celebrations as he's currently in the UK for the Queen's funeral. Meanwhile, PNG expats and students in Auckland celebrated Papua New Guinea's independence with festivities and cultural displays in Mount Eden. Over hundreds of guests gathered at the Bistro in Cornwall Park to celebrate the event. Chairperson of the New Zealand Papua New Guinea Business Council, Andrew Wilson, says it's an opportunity for Aotearoa's tight-knit Wantok diaspora and former residents of Papua New Guinea to catch up with one another.
We've had a wonderful event this evening, which has been a celebration of PNG's 47th birthday. So the 47th anniversary of PNG independence from Australia. We had around 100 people here with some nice speeches and then some lovely cultural dancing.
In Tonga, a search for 2 men and a teenager missing at sea has been called off. Matangi Tonga reports a small boat sank between Miltoa and Iweki on August the 30th. 6 men were on the boat, 2 have survived, 1 died, and 3 are still missing. Police had earlier confirmed their roommate managed to swim ashore at Miltoa and report the tragic incident in the early morning of August 31st. Fiji Cabinet Minister Enya Seruiratu says disaster management will remain a priority for the region in the decades to come. Mr. Seruiratu is the chair of the first ever Pacific Disaster Ministers meeting organized by the Pacific Community and Pacific Islands Forum Secretariat and hosted by the Fijian government. He said the meeting is a sign of the times and challenges the Pacific faces, calling it a landmark gathering. Pacific political leaders, senior civil servants, experts and donor partners from 17 countries of Oceania met in Fiji to elevate work on disaster management. IRZ Pacific's Fiji correspondent Leva Mobono says there's no issue more important to the security of Pacific people than the need to build resilience and to manage disaster risk. The Marshall Islands has lifted its state of health disaster after 3 years and opened its borders to normal travel. It was first put in place in mid-2019 in response to an outbreak of dengue fever and was continuously extended when COVID spread globally. The North Pacific nation was one of the first to close its borders when the COVID pandemic started and remained COVID-free for more than 2.5 years until last month. The Marshall Islands government state of health disaster expired on Thursday local time, and the National Disaster Committee said there was no reason to extend it. Chinese police officers have been teaching skills to their Solomon Islands colleagues, along with martial arts to women and children, and also providing help with food. The China Police Liaison Team was at the Tulagi in Central Province to provide public order management and training. While there, they encountered officers' families experiencing some difficulty, and the Solomon Islands Police Media Team said the Chinese officers bought the families rice, oil, and noodles. Local Police Commander David Suwaki thanked Kenny's officers for their strong support. Air New Zealand has rejected public claims as prioritising other countries of the Pacific and Australia above Samoa. A local travel agency had complained about clients who have been trying to return to Samoa but can't get seats. Air New Zealand Country Manager for Samoa, Karen Getz, says they recognise the importance of providing good connectivity and regular services between New Zealand and Samoa. She announced Air New Zealand will increase flights on its New Zealand to Samoa route from October the 31st in order to cater for high demand and travel between the two countries. This will see 7 flights a week, 2 of which will have wide-bodied aircraft. In New Zealand news, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has met with the Prince and Princess of Wales and offered the deep condolences of Aotearoa. She says it was a chance to acknowledge that while Aotearoa has lost a queen, they have lost a grandmother. Ms. Ardern acknowledged that for Prince William and Princess Catherine, the grieving process is very public. She says they're doing it with dignity and grace.
I've come over time to observe that no matter what role or duty you have in life, you are still at the end of the day human. And this is obviously a very public grieving process which everyone in the royal family is having to partake in, but also I have no doubt deeply personal to them as well.
The Prime Minister has also visited Westminster Hall to see the Queen lying in state. Corrections is facing a High Court action to stop inmates from Arohata Women's Prison in Wellington being transferred. The department had planned to temporarily move about 40 prisoners to either Christchurch or Auckland amid staffing shortages. Sam Ollie reports.
Yesterday, lawyers representing some prisoners applied for a judicial review. They say the relocations are discriminatory, disproportionate and contradictory. But Corrections Lower North Regional Commissioner Liz Hawthorne says the moves would reduce pressure on staff and protect health and safety. She says there have been transfers between 9 men's prisons already, also due to staffing gaps. Liz Hawthorne says the Child Travel Fund could help mothers behind bars see children living in a different region.
In world news, a Norwegian member of parliament says his country is profiting off the war in Ukraine because the price it receives for oil and gas has risen sharply. Norway is expected to receive nearly $100 billion from petroleum overall this year, about triple its usual annual earnings. The BBC's Europe regional editor Paul Moss has more.
The Norwegian government is helping its own people who are facing higher gas and electricity bills, and today announced further financial help for Norwegian businesses. But now one of its own MPs, Green member Rasmus Hansson, has said the extra cash earned should be given to Ukraine and to help other countries look after Ukrainian refugees.
To sport, the MSG Prime Minister's Football Cup kicks off today in Port Vila, Vanuatu. The cup hasn't happened in 22 years due to a lack of funding. However, the cup has been brought back to life thanks to the government of Vanuatu and FIFA. Secretary of the MSG Cup competition, Henry Bill, says participation in these matches will affect the team's world rankings.
Looking at the past record and history of the Melanesian Cup before, not all countries participated because it's not compulsory and it's not recognized by FIFA. This time around, the MSG Champions Cup is a Tier 1 competition recognized by FIFA and it's compulsory for everyone to attend given their ranking. It will affect their rankings.
And finally, Tonga has named a 38-man roster in preparations for the Rugby League World Cup next month in the UK. The star-studded roster includes powerful debutants such as Rabbitohs standout Daniel Fifita, Gold Coast back rower David Fifita, Eels prop Oregon Gaufusi, and Shield second row Siosifa Talakai. Veteran stars Jason Daumalono, Daniel Pinto, William Hopoate, and Conrad Hurrell return to the mix. The team continues under the leadership of coach Christian Wolf. And that is your RNZ Pacific News on sport. To read or to listen to more of our stories online, head over to rnzi.com. Results in the newly built hospital have been rushed away. No electricity, nothing whatsoever.
We need to be prepared for the future.
This isn't fun. Prepared.
Specific prepared.
Plan this time before disaster strikes. Every natural disaster gets worse.
What happens
happens when something goes wrong and how do they respond to it.
And make sure everyone's safety comes first. Father, what's the dream? You must ready.
Clearing roads, installing critical infrastructure,
Eventually, I know it's going to hit. It's only a matter of time.
helping your community.
Helping your family. Helping you.
Pacific prepared.
Pacific prepared. Pacific prepared.
Hello and welcome to Pacific Prepared. I'm Fred Hooper. We've got a great team of reporters who are on the ground chatting to you, and the stories we bring you could help you, your family and your community prepare for natural disasters. The weather and how it affects you is already part of your life, so let's keep talking about being prepared. On today's show, an update from Papua New Guinea after a large earthquake struck over the weekend. Also, while COVID-19 takes the attention, seasonal flu hasn't gone away across the Pacific. We'll find out how one country is coping with the numbers this year. And one Fiji village is taking big steps to combat the impact of rising sea levels. That's all coming up. This is Pacific Prepared.
People's lives have been affected by disaster.
Know what to do.
Know what to do.
Know what to do.
Clearing roads, installing critical infrastructure. All signs are coming. So we have to prepare.
Be prepared.
Pacific prepared.
Papua New Guinea felt the impact of a 7.6 magnitude earthquake on Sunday. So far, 4 people have lost their lives. Pacific Prepared reporter Diane Waketsi is based in Port Moresby. Hello Diane, welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you.
What did you experience on Sunday morning?
I was in Bangkok, that's one of the business centers in Port Moresby.
What were you actually doing at that time?
I was actually on my way to do some shopping when the tremors hit in the morning. Everyone was a bit shocked that, there was an earthquake and most of the people started screaming and running, because they were used to the tremors that occurred on the day. Everyone was like in shock actually. They were like, oh, there's an earthquake. And people were scattered to try to, they were going about the business, but then they were out of that there was a sudden earthquake that happened. As I stood there watching the buildings sway from one, slightly sway, I was kind of out of that, and I was also shocked that, okay, this could be a big earthquake, or, could be a life-threatening earthquake, or it could just be a tremor.
And so you, at this stage, were you inside the building or were you outside watching the building?
I was actually outside observing. I was at one of the major shopping centers. The Stop and Shop down at Broco. So when it started, the tremor started, I was about to go through the doorway, but then I felt the tremors had come.
Winter crops are being finished off, and farmers now want some dry days to get tractors onto paddocks to work land up for planting before November. There was a bit of rain in Central Otago this week, but not enough to stop shearing. Lambing is starting for some,
we know that
but those in the upper end of the Ida Valley and Hill Country won't start until early to mid-October.
Obviously, you've got communications
There isn't
right
a heap
now.
of grass around, so it's all good. Air scanning results are a little lower. Shearers are apparently finding it hard to get enough staff. There aren't the young ones coming into the industry, and our contact here couldn't understand why. When pay rates are good and there are 3 meals a day plus 2 smoko breaks with food. Crossbred shearing is well through and merinos will start soon. Cows are calving. Farmers are getting ready to sow permanent pastures or usurp. Southland is having a
You've also been in touch with somebody
one day.
who
It's been very windy, which is
I think
sucking
in
up
the
the
other
moisture.
provinces as well.
Lambing is well through and calving is 80 to 90%.
We spoke to
Countrywide.
We're heading south now to visit an orchard in North Otago. Rangitaiki Orchards is on the Kurau Gumtree Road. Cosmo Candice Farms is with manager Alan Watts. Our main crop is apricot, and we would tend to export them. And then we've got plums, so about 5 hectares of them, nectarines, peaches, and then it's got a 200 cherry trees, and they all sell through our roadside shop just after Christmas.
How long have you been running this orchard?
So our parents bought the orchard must have been the start of 2003, and I've been involved since I finished school when I was 18. Yeah, a few years under my belt now.
Did you always want to join the family business?
You know, when I finished school, it was nothing that I'd wanted to do less. But the more I've been involved, the more it's grown on me, and it's something I tend to enjoy now day to day. So we've got my brother Brian, and my husband Kieran, my brother-in-law Christian, and myself.
What were your parents doing before they bought this orchard?
Mum was a stay-at-home mum, 6 kids, and Dad was an accountant in Auckland, a bit of a midlife crisis, and decided to move to the South Island. They ended up having health problems a few years back, so that's probably why my siblings and I ended up being involved in the business a lot younger than we otherwise would have. But yeah, over the years, I think it's worked out to be a good thing.
How old were you when you took over the reins with your brothers and sisters?
So in terms of management side of it, probably around, I think I was 21 when my sister and I did our first season in the pack house. And then my older sister, she managed pruning for probably about 11 years. This is the first year she's been out of that, having just had a baby.
So how big is the orchard?
So we've got about 20 hectares planted at the moment, and I think we've got about 34 hectares. And the orchard was planted in the 1970s. Prior to that, I think it was potatoes. Yeah, we've definitely got good soil here. Not a lot of rocks, which is quite surprising in the area, but that's certainly a good thing for growing.
Now we are standing in one of your orchards right now. What do these trees grow?
So these are our fruit plums. They'll come in about the 20th of January, and they're quite a large size plum. So most of the orchard's hand pruned, but the trees we're standing by now will get a hedge trimmer in, and he'll trim the sides and the tops, and then that's done fast and easy and fast.
How long would it take you to hand prune a tree?
Yeah, we're aiming for about 75 trees a day.
Per person?
Per person. So it's really challenging physically. All the tops of them will use either platform tractors or hydraulic ladders to reach the tops.
At the moment, what are some of the biggest challenges you're facing in terms of managing the orchard?
Yeah, the weather is a bit of an issue, but that's nothing you can do about that one. Staff is still an issue, which, with COVID, that sort of changed things a lot. People coming in from overseas and with the overseas scheme sort of throwing a wee bit. And then, as with everyone else at the moment, pricing is an issue, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out over the next season. The cost of transport will rise a lot with all the fuel costs going up, so it makes it hard to budget with everything changing frequently at the moment.
Are you involved in any diversification here at the orchard?
So, did they give you any indication?
2018 we started making sorbets out of some of the fruit, and that's fruit that's too soft or marked to go to the supermarkets. So the idea is to freeze that down in summer, and then over the winter we can make sorbets, and we sell that into a number of the new worlds across the South Island.
Do you have a commercial kitchen here on the property?
So we converted one of our cool stores into a commercial kitchen, so that was a bit of a project, a bit of a learning curve for everyone. And then, worked on all the food safety side of that, and to get that certified. And so we've got a big freezer and commercial kitchen all on site, so it's pretty cool to be able to actually make the product on the same property where we grow the fruit.
Who came up with the formula for the sorbet?
So I did all the product development, and everyone was pretty happy to be taste testers for that. Helping you. So I spent a year studying bakery in RS Polytech in Timaru. And then after that became
What
home
happens when
and
something goes wrong?
working out recipes and what works and what doesn't. So we weren't sure exactly what products we'd go with. Natural base had one that people are pretty fond of.
What's your brand?
Rangitaiki orchids. And that's another learning curve, just all the
While the
promotion
COVID-19
side of it.
pandemic
And
has been sweeping
most
across the
supermarkets
world,
are pretty
other
willing
viruses and flus
to
haven't
give something a
stopped.
try
They've still been active.
if they think there's
Specific
possibility with it.
based in Palau,
So we've
Denise
done pretty much the whole
spoke to
South
the Minister
Island
of Health
with
and Human Services
New Wheels
in Palau
visited
to find out
most
how
of
the
the
country
stores.
is coping with the current
Through that a little bit, we were doing in-store tastings so customers could try the new product. Once COVID came, that all changed. It's understandable.
Were you doing that yourself?
Yes, it was a combination of myself and my sisters, and then we had another local girl who would help out over the summer with that as well.
A lot to look at over and above the day-to-day running of the orchard.
Or something to do.
communicable disease, including flu. And so there's certain thresholds that exist, and if those thresholds are surpassed with the number of cases that we see here at the hospital, then that triggers that activation of the EpiNet team, which will then convene and review the situation, assess the situation, looking at the number of cases and the demographics and all other relevant information, and then they come up with a plan of attack to try to address the situation. So that's currently what the mechanism is in place at the ministry. First, looking at if there's a global pandemic of a flu-like illness, then there's a pan-flu pandemic flu plan that we follow. But for cases within Palau, if they reach or go beyond a certain threshold, that EpiNet team gets activated to formulate a response.
Palau get a lot of outside help to address healthcare issues. Are there programs that are prepared to empower local communities?
Yes, so as we've seen with this current COVID-19 pandemic, we do get a lot of assistance and partnership with a lot of our bilateral and external partners and donors. For example, the U.S. government, Japan, Taiwan, Australia, among others. And of course, we have the World Health Organization, WHO, and the U.S. CDC, which provides a lot of funding support for our public health programs.